Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to your new Jackrabbit Illustrated B-Team spin-off show.
Scared money don't make money.
That's right, folks. Scared money don't make money. The spin-off show from the B-Team with Ben and Brendan making their picks against the spread just like old times, with the addition of Alex Kenkel and his computer model that is featured weekly on JackrabbitIllustrated.com. As usual, the B-Team and all Jackrabbit Illustrated podcasts are live on the Jackrabbit Illustrated Facebook and Twitter pages, along with being live on the FCS Fans Nation YouTube channel. Also, if you don't catch us live, be sure to tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or any major podcast outlet in between. As always, the B-Team is brought to you by our title sponsor, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. If you need a tractor, utility vehicle, construction equipment, zero-turn motors, parts, service, and more, there's always a Kubota dealer near you with 8 locations across the great state of South Dakota. Stop in today and get yourself into some orange equipment. And we would also like to thank our segment sponsor, Cubby's Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Brookings. If the Jacks are out of town, you need a place to watch them. Head on down, get some Chislic cheese curds, beer, and burgers. And now, without further ado, scared money don't make money. And of course, we are back, and we would be remiss if I didn't mention our other segment sponsor for Scared Money Don't Make Money, Blue Tide Car Wash in Brookings, South Dakota. Of course, it'll be mentioned later in the show as well. Big shout out to our title sponsors of Jackrabbit Illustrated, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. We really appreciate all that you guys do in supporting Jackrabbit Illustrated. As always, we are on the Jackrabbit Illustrated Facebook, Jackrabbit Illustrated Twitter, and the FCS Fans Nation YouTube. Thank you so much for making us part of your day. If you're listening on podcasts, everything else, we really appreciate it. Mayhem, for your time thing, I have one remark for you. But beyond that, boys, it's getting close. I am getting excited. It's quarterfinals. It is winter weather. These are my favorite games to go to of the year. It is our potentially third to last Scared Money Don't Make Money of the season. The standings have shaken out properly, and I am excited because I have
potential. It's going to be the third to last regardless. I mean,
well, yeah, we'll keep going, I suppose, even if we do lose tomorrow. But I am feeling fairly comfortable in saying I have accomplished my goal that I set out to do at the beginning of the year and beat the model. I feel pretty comfortable saying that after last week.
Yeah.
That's right. This is a win for humanity.
That's right. The machines will not take over. Not today. Actually, Alex, do you want to share the most impressive thing you did this week? Because I'm just amazed at how broke the model is.
So, yeah, last night or the night before, I opened it up to load everything for this week. And as most of you know, it's like an Excel workbook. And everything was literally broken. Like the links didn't work the way they're supposed to. The references were all gone. And I had done nothing since enter the games from last week, save it, close it, open it for the show, close it. All I had done.
So tell everyone, did the model commit suicide for how bad it was doing?
It might have. So I said, you know what? There's 7 games left for this year. This is already taken me longer than it would have to just calculate the results for 7 games. So the rest of the year,
Alex is doing the model on paper, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it.
The commitment, though. I mean, you got to respect the commitment to the grind. What a stud.
I mean, at this point, I could just make it up and it'd probably be just as accurate. But
it's true. So are you officially like throwing in the towel then? Is that what's...
I think it's math.
7 games back.
So I could still theoretically tie Brendan if Brendan goes 0 for the rest of the way and the model goes undefeated the rest of the way.
I gained a game on Ben this week. I'm feeling good. I don't feel good about being a third, so I gotta crawl back, and I did just enough to crawl within potential striking distance, because we're running out of games.
And more important news, the best anyone can do is tie me. If I go over and Ben goes undefeated the rest of the way, he will tie me for first place. So
that's not going to happen. I've just got to beat Brendan. It's pride now.
It's all about pride.
All right. Should we go over quickly the games from last week?
I think so.
Yeah. Sounds good. Just finishing up my JIAI presentation here. But
because Ben always comes prepared.
You know, I was a little busy today, but it happens.
Were you busy yesterday?
Yeah, I was actually. All right.
Likely story.
I went 3-4-1. Brendan went 4-3-1. Alex went 4-3-1, and the model went a woeful 1-6-1. Oof. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I forgot my stand, so it's like down here.
I can hear you. Yeah.
I could just talk like this right into it. Do a little ASMR.
No, we're not doing ASMR. God, that just makes me want to run my truck off a bridge.
All right. So
ASMR.
we had Idaho taking down Lehigh and covering, Montana State taking down UT Martin and covering, UC Davis taking down Illinois State and covering. 3 favorites there. You'd think, well, maybe that's a trend. Nope, not at all, because no other favorites covered. We had USD winning but not covering against Tarleton, Mercer winning but not covering against Rhode Island, NDSU winning but not covering against Abilene Christian, Incarnate Word covering and tying, and SDSU winning but not covering against Montana, which we will touch on. We can touch on it now, I suppose.
You know what? You know why Bobby did what he did?
Why?
He knew the model was going to go over beyond that game, so he was helping the model out.
That was nice of him. Still didn't stop the model from deleting himself.
Right. Seppuku.
But yeah, if you saw on Twitter, we posted the bad beats segment. Montana, of course, made that for that's a bad beat. If you had bet on SDSU, man, I'd be unhappy.
Yeah,
and the under.
TV broken somewhere.
Yeah, somebody somewhere lost a substantial amount of money on that play and just lost their minds.
So, side tangent here. I was just thinking about what the proposed punishment has been. And I was like, well, what if it's not an election year? There is 100% a mayoral primary in Brookings set for April.
Like yes.
100%.
Yes.
Speaking of which, let's jump right into.
So, have you asked Beth yet if she was realizing that it would be you running for mayor?
When she said it,
yeah, probably not.
She's the one who brought it. This was all her idea, which is the best part.
Oh, I know, and she was so happy about it before. I don't know that she will be now, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I wonder, I have to fill out a petition. I wonder how many signatures I have to get.
That is specifically what BT Mafia exists for, is to get you enough signatures on that mayoral petition.
No.
So that's the first JIAI of the week is your model running for mayor of Brookings. I really do think we should bring an old computer in and dress it up in a tux and just set it there.
That'd be incredible.
That'd be good stuff.
Oh wait, this was for last year. Never mind. So we have to wait 3 years if we're gonna stick to this. But
all right, we might have to figure something else out to punish Alex.
All right, fine. Lots of chalk this week. Yep. All top 8 seeds won. However, we don't bet the money line, and like we said, only 3 favorites won, 4 underdogs, and a tie. I didn't have time to do the other games. I just did the Jacks one. I had Bobby Howe. placing a bet. Says I'll take Montana to cover and the over 2. Big stack of money. And some guy recognizes him and goes, "Hey, aren't you Bobby Houck?" And then he vanishes.
Is that your first where you had 3 of them?
Like a story? Yeah, it was a storyboard.
Yeah, a storyboard
That's what
of
they
those?
call it
That's
in the biz.
fantastic.
Yep. Good stuff. Yeah, that was wild. I mean, I think when I went back and watched it, there was a senior that scored a touchdown. So I mean, I guess
But
there's some justification there.
so it was, but I don't know. It's a guy that's been their leading receiver all year. It's not like it was his.
Yeah, it wasn't like a bench player that came in and scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird deal. I'm sure he had some explanation. I would listen to the presser, but I'm sure he was like, "Oh, we never give up. We always fight till the end," or something. But I don't know. Pretty classless and stupid, if you ask me.
I didn't listen to it either. I didn't listen to his, but Zim talked about it on No One's Listening Anyway this week, and he said he kind of danced around the question and more just talked about how they just weren't competitive in the game, which was just a weird way to answer that question. But
I'm going to be honest. I think it successfully accomplished what he was trying to accomplish there. I genuinely, I think he was trying to save face in that game. And if you listen, I listened a little bit to
to prove
the Grizz fan.
The Ayat decision?
No, a little bit, but just to give the fan base some confidence, because you listen to the Grizz fan pod. I listened a little bit to hear what they had to say about the game, and they're like, "We're the only ones who scored 3 touchdowns on them this year since Incarnate Word, and we did this and or 2 touchdowns on them since NDSU, and we're the only ones to score 18 out of them all year besides Incarnate Word," and they're feeling good about that. So I think that
35-3 when we called the dogs off.
Right. I think he was just trying to score points with the fan base to make it look better, and that's how it worked out. That's how I felt about it at the time. So I realized it screwed my pick, and then I was kind of pissed. But beyond that, I think that's genuinely what he was doing. No, you can leave that comment up there, Ben. Come on, you do look nice between the closet and the bathroom door. It is very aesthetic. Thank you for pointing that out. It is a very aesthetic background. The salmon that he's wearing.
I was going to say, I like how his quarter zip matches his headphones.
It does. It does. That's so cute.
It does.
God, you're such a fashionista.
I lost my train of thought now.
Choo-choo to the station.
Yeah. So I mean, as I was watching that though, when they were trying to score at the end, there were some big hits, and I was cringing every time. I'm like, dude, this is why you don't do this, is because you're gonna get somebody injured for no reason at all.
Right.
And it's I mean, yeah, you don't have any more games to play, but we do. It's that's the only thing that could have come from that would be an injury that would have actually had consequence for the upcoming games. So it was just so stupid, but
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, the thing that annoys me about it is it's going to make it in borderline impossible for this defense to match the score total that
I know. I was thinking that too.
Did hypothetically. Obviously a lot of games to go.
That's more points than they gave up all last year in the playoffs.
Well, I think he's talking the season average.
No, I was talking the playoffs.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
well, never mind.
So that's done.
You'd have had to, you'd have had to beat that by a fair amount to match the season total. So, geez, another Tucker Kraft video by the Packers just dropped.
Yeah, they love him. They're all in on Tucker Kraft, man.
Dude, he's the man. He is.
How could you not
be
man
in Wisconsin?
Oh no, I love it. I mean, it's rightfully so.
I mean, he's a Packer. He really is all the way. Everything about it just screams Packers or Browns or Bills. I think those are the 3 fan bases that he really would have connected with the most.
I used to work with his uncle, and his uncle's also a big Cowboys fan. took something called a Luke Schoonmaker instead. I still haven't 3 years later figured out exactly what that is. Actually, shouldn't say that. We're getting way off topic. Schoonmaker's actually had a pretty decent year now that Ferguson's been injured, but he hadn't done anything prior to this year.
I'm just saying, like a dude drinking Busch Light, watching himself get drafted in a machine shed with his family.
For sure.
That does not scream Dallas Cowboy player. That screams a gritty northern
I get what
fan
you're
base
saying.
that's in the cold.
I'm not arguing that at all. I'm just being bitter about how that draft went because that was a terrible draft for us.
How you've missed out on 2 Jacks, great Jacks tight ends because Dallas Goedert's still tearing it up, and he got sniped by the Eagles away from you guys.
Yeah, no, they were going to take him as Witten's replacement. Was in my apartment in Lincoln, Nebraska at the time, cussing up a storm when that happened. But anyhow, like I said, we're way off topic.
All right, let's get into these quarterfinal games. We got 4 to go after here. We'll start with the least interesting one, the biggest spread. We've got Mercer going to NDSU, and the spread is 22.5. Alex, what does your little piece of paper say?
It says NDSU by 19, so it's going to take Mercer to cover. I don't know. What did you say it was? I already lost my
22.5.
That's a lot. Mercer, I don't know. Mercer's offense is going to score enough, though. That's where I'm fencing this. Is I think Mercer's defense is good enough. It might hold NDSU to the high 20s, but then to offset that, Mercer then has to score something, and I don't know that I see that. I kind of like NDSU to cover, especially off a disappointing game last week.
Yeah, for Mercer to cover or win, they need a quarterback who is a little bit loose with the ball. They've got 8 defensive touchdowns this year, which is a stupid stat. But Cam Miller is not going to give you defensive touchdowns, not in this game. Their defense is going to be wound up to prove a point after I'm sure by their standards, they feel a little embarrassed after that, the game against Abilene Christian. It's just not a good matchup for Mercer. I mean, potentially, could I see a world where their defense is as good as they were advertised for a long time, where they pull SDSU and hold NDSU down the whole game and hold them to 16 points or so? I mean, theoretically, if they are that good, then they can, but I don't believe they're quite that good. I don't think they're going to have the depth to hold up the whole game. Kevin, you can say, is Cam Miller better than Cole Gonzalez? He's a lot less loose with the ball than Cole Gonzalez was.
I don't.
I'm pretty sure if I looked up interceptions right now, Cole Gonzalez has more interceptions. Now that you bring it up, I'm going to do it.
I'm confused by that question. I can't tell.
Bringing it up because Mercer beat Western Carolina, and
okay,
yeah.
And
well,
so
NDSU's defense is a little better than Western Carolina's.
Okay.
Right.
I would
Carolina
say
give up 44 points.
Yeah, Cam is a lot more protective of the ball than Cole Gonzalez is,
as Chris Howard points out here. But even beyond that fact, yes, I think Cam Miller, you could easily say, is a better college quarterback than Colton Gonzalez. Kevin's
on
point.
their stats, they won't even throw interceptions. He had 7 interceptions this year. That is, I believe, 5 more interceptions than Cam Miller's played. So, yeah.
Cole Gonzalez will probably get a better shot at the NFL because his, mechanics and the stuff scouts like is a little better. But if I had to pick one to say who is a better FCS quarterback right now, that's a very easy Cam Miller.
That's Cam Miller this year.
I don't know how that's even a debate.
Yeah, that's a no doubter. I mean, that is a no doubter. Cam Miller had a better year. I'm sorry. He just did. He's more dangerous with his legs. He had a better year. I mean, and this is we're letting Kevin play
drive our
his
show.
SoCon game and drive us off topic. But just for the giggles, Cam Miller had 377 rushing yards this year and 8 rushing touchdowns.
With half the year with the bum wheel.
Yeah, Cole Gonzalez has 3 rushing touchdowns and 222 yards rushing. And then his passing statistics, he's got 2,614 yards and 26 touchdowns compared to Cole Gonzalez's 1,923 yards and 7 touchdowns.
What's the yards per attempt?
Now, granted,
that's the important stat there.
Yards per attempt?
Yes.
Average per pass is 12.4 for Cam.
Which is stupid good if you're not familiar with advanced statistics.
11.3 for Cole Gonzalez. Now, Cole Gonzalez got hurt in 7 games. Still, in 7 games, I mean, okay, double it. So he was a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. That's not good. Stop it. Stop. No. Naughty. Bad Citadel Bulldog.
And for those that don't follow or know much about advanced statistics, I mean, it's not super advanced, but yards per attempt is kind of like your baseline for quarterback play, because what's the average of what's going to happen when the quarterback drops back? And 8 to 9 yards per attempt is both pretty average. So both those guys have really good numbers, but 12 for Miller is just crazy. That is stupidly good.
Well, you got a 26-to-2 ratio for touchdowns. It's a 13-to-1 ratio for touchdowns to interceptions for Cam Miller, and Cole Gonzalez is 1-for-1. So it does. So that's my point exactly. Is you mean they beat the guy who throws an interception for every touchdown, and they're a very turnover aggressive defense, and we said Cam Miller wouldn't give him those opportunities? Sounds like everything I said was right, Kevin. So anyways, I wish I would love to see Mercer keep it close. I just don't think they will. I think NDSU's the way Mercer has given up a ton of points this season is when they were consistently put in bad spots, and I see them being put in bad spots all day in field position and turnovers and everything else, because their offense is not going to be able to function, and NDSU is going to just walk away with this one.
To answer your question on what's Army's quarterbacks, their starter Bryson Daly was high 9s, which is still pretty good, but that's above average. I don't know what your point you're trying to make there is.
He's trying to make the point that Army won a bunch of games without their quarterback having it, but that's apples and oranges, and he knows damn well that is. And he's moving goalposts. He's smart enough to know that.
But it doesn't make sense. Their quarterback did play well.
Yeah, he did play well. Yeah. Anyways.
Moving on. Do I think Cubbies will show the Montana State game? I bet if you ask them, because they have a lot of TVs and they've got the right hookups for them.
I'm sure they will. It's going to be on ESPN.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing other than basketball on tomorrow night either. That's like the only football
primetime game on
tomorrow. And it's prime time.
Speaking of Cubbies, they are our segment sponsor. So shout out to Cubby Sports Bar and Grill on Main Street in Brookings. Head on down there for some J.I. Italian nachos. Mention us when you order it. Tag us on the Twitter or Facebook and tag Jackrabbit Illustrated, and Cubby's in there. And we're still donating $14 per picture to fight childhood cancer for Alex's Lemonade Stand. So head down there and watch the game. That is the place to go to watch that Montana State game on Friday night. Go down to Cubby Sports Bar and Grill. And Damien counted. It is exactly 30,000 TVs. I knew my math was good.
Ben, did we actually get an official pick for you from that game?
No, I'm still. Did you pick Brendan? That was the longest.
I picked NDSU to cover. Yeah,
that was the longest pick
I'm just trying
on the show. It was spread, 10 minutes.
I'm just, we only got 4 games to pick.
So we gotta go 15 minutes each.
God forbid we get God forbid we get done in under a half hour.
I'm thinking of the viewers here, and I don't want to shortchange them. It is quarterfinals week, which is a big week. That means they don't get less of us.
Alex, did you take NDSU as well?
Yes.
All right, clean sweep, NDSU across the board. I will
Not
take
for the
them.
model.
What? The
Not
model?
for the model.
Oh, okay.
Ruh-roh, Raggy. I hope the model wins this one.
Just
Don't, Garrett said Kevin
You
turning
should
Brendan
pick-
into an NDSU fan. I hate when people make me have to stick up for them, but I
You should
will
pick
do it out of
completely-
honesty.
completely opposite of the model just to see what happens.
Oh, let's run that risk.
Yeah. I would enjoy it. All right.
Well, technically,
next
I'm on fire so far for it.
Next up, we've got Idaho going to Montana State, and Montana State's favored by 14 at home.
Oof. Is that the current line? Are you using the lines I tweeted at you or not?
Yes. I'm using the one on MGM.
Okay. I'm
Which is
just
the one
asking.
That
Just asking. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah,
I
all right.
apologize.
Turns
I
out this guy knows
apologize
what he's talking
deeply
about.
and sincerely. I just wanted to verify because I saw the minus 11 and a half was stuck in my head.
The guy
I
sees
hate
one
this
tweet
line.
with spreads, and now he's a spread expert.
I'm just trying to help.
All right. What do you got, Alex?
Trying to be a pal. And what do I get?
Model says 17.1, so Montana State covers. I really don't like this line. I feel the 14 is a really good line for this game. I definitely think it's closer than last time, but I also think it's going to be one of those games where it's pretty tight, middle of the third quarter, and Tommy Malott, it's 3rd and 1 around their own 30-something, and they run quarterback power, and Tommy Malott gets to the second level and makes one guy miss, and he scores a 70-yard touchdown, and it's blown wide open. That's how I kind of see this one going. Idaho was hurt last time, but you know what was not hurt? Their front seven, because that was a storyline going into the regular season game. Idaho's got a really good run defense, and they did and still do, but Montana State had no issues running the ball on them. I love Dan Jackson. I think he's a terrific coach. I don't see where they found enough to reverse that. I think they'll score some more points this time, but I still think Montana State's going to score mid to high 30s, and I really think that gives them a good chance of covering 14, so I will take Montana State in this one as well.
Yeah. The thing that troubles me about Idaho is they didn't have that many rushing yards against Lehigh. And
right.
I don't think Idaho has the offense. I mean, it was fine against Lehigh. They were able to throw on them. But I think you need to be more balanced against Montana State's defense. I hate this line because I think that Montana State wins by 2 touchdowns. But gun to my head, I'm going to go ahead and take I hate this because, every big spread I picked last week bit me, every single one of them. I'm going to say Montana State covers. I think they wear them down. God, I hate this line. Yeah, I'll take Montana State to cover. I'm going to stick with that. I don't love it, but I'll stick with it. I would avoid this line with like the plague if I'm betting.
Benjamin. I think we lost Benjamin.
Yeah, he looks frozen. Alex, what did the model pick?
It took Montana State, so we're across the border.
Oh.
There's Ben.
Not sure what happened there.
Am I going to go? You know what? I'll just for
You
the,
still
in the
haven't
spirit
picked?
of it because I picked, but I'm gonna swap it just in the spirit of fading the model the entire time, and I'm gonna
just to give it a chance.
I'm gonna take Idaho plus 14 in this one. That's gonna be my method. Yeah,
I'll take Idaho plus 14. I think that Jack Lane's got a little bit of a spark. That offense is playing well, and I think they'll do enough to make it a game. I think it'll be a down to the wire on tomorrow night. So tune in. All right. Next up, we've got and the most interesting game of the weekend, I think, is UC Davis going to USD. USD is favored by 3.5 at home. I think it was Demez said earlier that USD should be mad. They have the toughest path to Frisco despite tying SDSU in regulation, beating NDSU. I mean, they do have the toughest path, I think. I mean, I would much rather be playing Incarnate Word than UC Davis this week. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, out of that 3-way tie thing, I think it was pretty clear that they were at the bottom of the totem pole. And then there was just kind of like, after that, what do you do?
I mean, realistically, it's just the way the conference scheduling landed is what screwed them.
Well,
right.
And we don't need to completely rehash this, but I almost, not actually because of who they are, but almost felt bad for them when you consider the fact how many years can you beat Youngstown, UNI, and UND, SIU, beat all 4 of those teams, end up with 0 ranked wins. How often does that happen?
Right. Well, and on the other side of things too, everybody's being all hysterical about the D2 games that SDSU had scheduled this year and last year. They tend to forget they also played 2 seeds in the out of conference. How many other teams have played seeds and had those as wins in the last 2 years and they're out of conference? NDSU sure shit hasn't.
No,
so, and that's not a dig on USD, but there should be some reward for that scheduling like that out of conference. And so, is it unfortunate? Does it suck for USD? Yeah, it does. I said from the beginning it was going to suck for them, but it is what it is. Ben, is there anything in that mug?
Yes, it's tea.
Is it actually tea?
With a little milk, yeah.
What is happening? Ree, what have you done to my boy? It used to be red beers. Ree, what have you done?
It was on Tuesday night.
Blink 3 times if you feel okay.
I switch it up. All right. Did we make any picks yet? UC Davis?
No.
USD is favored by 3.5 at home.
Model says Yotes by 7, so it picks them to cover somewhat comfortably, actually. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this one. There's the part where USD has the better defense and they're playing at home, and that sure as heck matters in the playoffs. But then there's the other part where Davis, like we just talked about the scheduling, Davis, both as a program and this season, is a little more battle tested. They've went in the game in Bozeman down to the wire. They beat Montana in Wagriz. They've had these games where they, 2 years ago, yeah, they were here and they took that one down to the wire. They've been in these environments, and where I think it's interesting is, I think Chad talked about comment with Lane Larison. But if you look at Davis this year, and granted, he still will catch balls out of the slot in the backfield, but that when they've been on this year, it's been when their passing attack has been really good, and they do some of the West Coast stuff that we're kind of expecting Incarnate Word's maybe going to try to do to us. And I think that could really be the difference, and it's really going to come down to how Davis's quarterback, who I've praised on this show several times this year and now cannot remember his name if there was a gun to my head. I want to say Connor Watkins, but that's the Villanova quarterback. It's really going to come down to how he plays. So I think the Oats probably do win, but it might be closer than 3. So give me Davis to cover here. Hastings, Miles Hastings. Thank you, Kevin. Don't know why I could not get that out. You're muted, Brendan.
I think
Dang
Hastings.
it! I was
has
just gonna
the
let him
most-
go and see how long he went.
Yeah. I think Hastings is one of the top, has some of the highest number of passing yards in the subdivision, I believe, if I remember right. I mean, dude's been on fire. There's a couple things that give me a huge amount of pause when it comes to Davis. They held up well against the run against Montana State. And Montana State is a very, very good offensive line. They're a very, very good running team, but they still don't run with the same violence that a Valley team does. It's still a little bit of getting you move side to side instead of move you downfield out of the way. That sort of offense. So I'm not so sure how Davis is going to hold up for 4 quarters against that with USD pummeling them with Tice. I mean, the guy's just a monster. The other thing, there is a slightly massive distraction going on this week at Davis since they entirely got added to the Mountain West. I'm sure there's rumors flying around the football program about what maybe
not
might
entirely.
be or whatever. So football didn't get added, but I'm sure there's rumors flying around, and I'm sure that's been a talking point. I have no doubt that that's going to be a distraction. We've seen it with NDSU. How many times Borg loves to bring it up? How many times all of a sudden there's FBS rumors and then they lay a clunker right afterwards? It happens all the time with them. And they're probably with SDSU, the most trustworthy teams in the bracket for keeping focus. So that's a massive, in my opinion, distraction this week. I know all of us SDSU fans would love Davis to win. This being in the dome, I think tilts this in USD's favor. Oh God! And one of the UC Davis players made it into the hype video, said something like,
he
"Glad
was
to get to go into their place and beat their ass."
he was on
taking
some
USD.
local pod. It was their starting either nose tackle or D tackle, and I saw
Oh
that
no.
floating around.
Yeah. And the other thing is I think USD's defense is going to come out with a point to prove. And Hastings is good. Larison's a freak, but I think that defense is just too good to have 2 bad weeks in a row and to let those 2 players alone take them out. And Seth Meyer brings that up. So sorry, I should have said that when I read the quote, Seth. So I'm going to take USD to cover. I think they score a late touchdown. They'll be up 3. They'll be up a score, and then they score a late touchdown to put it away. They wear down Davis's line. Even though we have seen Davis fight back against Montana State, but that was at home, and it definitely felt like Montana State left the foot off the gas.
Yeah, I mean,
Are you
it's
laughing?
Kevin. He's just
Yeah,
I'm not biting that. It was a good try. Yeah, he's fishing. I'm not biting that bait. Not today.
It's tempting.
Oh, we got Joey Lombard's brother in the chat. Welcome.
Hey, there we go. There we
All-conference
go.
lineman for USD.
Yep.
Welcome.
What's up? He might be the one I ran into in the stands for the Yoke game. He came up and said, "Hey, my brother's on the team, but I listen to you guys all the time, and I should have brought it up earlier, but we appreciate you listening.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely.
so much. Even though we do give
So,
USD shit quite a bit on here.
Sorry about everything.
Yeah, sorry for all of it. Yeah, it was you. All right, awesome, cool.
It's
Hey,
tempting.
speaking of, sorry, we're gonna cut Ben's pick off again here, but did you see the A team trying to steal the mayor of Vermilion from us? What's that about?
Yeah,
he's ours.
No, that's an A team thing. They stole Dallas from us because Dallas started with us, and then now they're half stole Chad from the B team, and now they're snaking away the mayor of Vermilion.
It's terrible.
Okay, sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
Who's friends with the Vermilion's mayor?
I don't know who he is.
Yeah, Chad, that gives no one anything.
Anyway. Oh, Lombard.
Oh,
Gotcha.
Oh,
Oh, PJ.
okay.
Is PJ the rat?
PJ, were you the
That
one?
makes-
PJ, are you the one who
we
ratted
found
us
the
out?
mole.
We found the mole. Oh, this is even better. I don't care about Ben's pick anymore. We found the mole. This is incredible. PJ, and you didn't tell me.
That's
I mean, I
great.
wouldn't have kept the secret either, but we found the mole.
All right. What I was going to say is it's tempting to take UC Davis. I don't believe you. It's tempting to take UC Davis in this one, especially with the showing last week, but we saw every other good Valley team do that to Illinois State. Am I stuck?
No, you're good.
No, I can hear you.
Okay. You guys keep
Listen.
freezing, so I don't know if I'm good.
I'm
But
kidding.
I will take I'll take USD here. Who quick put together a burner account?
I'll give you one guess. Their name
Good
probably
idea.
rhymes with Bori Slench.
Yes.
Anyway,
Incredible.
I'll take USD. All right. Last but not least, we have Incarnate Word coming back to town, and SDSU is favored by 18.5. Alex, what does the printed out Kenkel model say?
It's not even printed out. It's
The
chicken
scribble.
scratch. It says good guys by 20.9. So it thinks we cover. And I agree. I really don't think we're going to I just don't see how we give up as many points this time. We might not score as many, especially if we're able to control the pace and the ball a little bit more. But I really just don't see Incarnate Word scoring at least 21 again. And so if that puts them at 14, that means we need 34 to cover. That feels pretty safe with me. See, my boy Tim's got my back, says fake news UIW offense.
You're not going to blow him a kiss too, are you?
Hey!
Hey!
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy is that they came in here and looked really good on offense, and
I still think
praising,
they are. I just don't think
but
Jimmy and Hobbit let it happen again.
Right, but also that was like one of their best offensive games almost. I mean, if you look at they did score some other points, but that's what I was thinking. That was their defense has been a lot better since they played SDSU.
Yeah, for sure.
That was their worst defensive game, and they've been good since then. But I don't think that they're going to hold us below 35, like you said. Brendan, what do you got?
On the one hand, we have the history of just having tight games in the quarterfinals. Villanova last year, Holy Cross the year before. This is a common theme. Villanova in the past,
2021 SIW 2020. Why did you have to bring that up?
I'm just saying we have a history of struggling in the quarters. It just
the last
is.
4 years.
Yeah, the last 4 years we've just struggled in the quarters. But on the flip side, I see the defense having a huge axe to grind after giving up the amount of yards and points that they did. If you compare the two programs, it really feels like SDSU has progressed the most, and Incarnate Word, at least offensively, almost looks like they regressed a little bit. Defensively, Incarnate Word has progressed quite a bit, I would say. You look at their last 4 or 5 games, they've really hung their hat on their defense. But and watching that Villanova game, they did not look great in that game. Alex, you brought up a great point that I've brought up in the past, and you brought it up in the. I just like to put a dose of, just a dash of. It's not a thing. That is a thing. 4 years in a row is a thing.
Hold on, you're giving me a compliment.
Yeah. Let's go back to where you're talking nice about me. Alex brought up in the group chat that it's a good point. It's something I firmly believe as well. The cold weather won't affect them, I don't think, at the beginning of the game, but if the Jacks are able to jump on them, that's when the cold starts to affect the team and make them start thinking about, I don't want to be in this anymore. We're down 2 touchdowns. This sucks. So if the Jacks can come out and jump on them right away, this could look great. However, all that being said, I'm going to have faith in what my eyes have told me, and I'm going to say that the Jacks cover the 18.5. I think it'll be lower scoring, like a 28-3 type game. Maybe a 28-9 type game, but I see the defense really coming out to prove a point. Yeah, Steve Anderson says if they have their shirts off during warm-up, we cover. Completely agree.
He said they cover, but I think he was joking.
Yeah, I think he meant us,
Jacks.
so I edited it for him. It was creative comment reading on my part. So correct me if I was wrong, Steve. Maybe he's trying to induce him to do a shirts off warm-up.
Goad him into it.
But since we're on the last game, and we have one more segment sponsor I have to mention. Blue Tide Car Wash of Brookings, South Dakota. Even though it is cold out, when the weather gets a little bit warmer, the roads are cruddy. You got stuff on your car that you want to get off to protect your paint. Head down to Blue Tide Car Wash. They will take great care of you. Get the monthly subscription so you can get that salt and road grime off of your car. Protect your car's paint. Free vacuums afterwards if you're feeling like it. But you don't even have to get out of your car. Just ride straight through the tunnel, baby. Locations all over Sioux Falls. They've got a brand new spiffy one in Mitchell, and they have the location in Brookings. Get it a Blue Tide Car Wash today and get your car sparkly clean when it warms up a little bit here. That's the best part of the monthly subscription. Any day that it's a little bit warm, run that baby through the car wash and get it looking sparkly clean again.
Perfect. Speaking of shirts off during warm up, there was a UIW guy spotted at Shields today buying some extra gear for the UIW boys that are already up here. It sounds like they're already cold. That does not bode well for them.
Well, he came up ahead of time because Incarnate Word didn't land until like 7:00 tonight. I was talking to Zach, one of the Traumberg guys, and he flew with the team. So that was an advanced scouting party, which I guess makes sense. Because I'd imagine winter jackets aren't super readily available in San Antonio.
To be fair, it's significantly colder yesterday and today than it will be on Saturday, just to be completely fair to those guys.
It's okay. Gets in their head right away.
Oh, yeah.
There is a potential for a little freezing rain, though. We'll see.
Yes, there is.
You were to say something, Alex?
I was just going to say, after Ben gives his pick, do we want to touch on Nashville stuff? A couple people.
Apparently everybody else wants us to. So
yes,
that's what I was saying.
It's a fairly popular comment.
It is. I will give my pick quickly. I think SDSU covers. I think the Jimmy getting a second shot at this team, I think they'll scheme him up and they'll move the ball, but we're not going to let them throw deep on us. And we'll clamp down in the red zone. I think that they score 10 and we score 41. So Jacks to cover there. Game for the championship game for 2026 and 2027 has moved to Nashville at the Vanderbilt Stadium. And then it's TBD after that. I think they got to figure out who's going to win the bid after that. But I guess Nashville probably kind of they'll get a bit of a tryout here in case they want to host it longer. But I mean, we were talking about it in the chat a little bit about how big the stadium is, 30,000 seats. If the Montanas and the Dakotas make it. And when I say the Dakotas, I mean South Dakota State, North Dakota State, because the other two Dakotas are not filling that stadium. But if 2 of those 4 teams make it, it's going to fill. But other than that, it will not be full. And it has the potential to be very empty.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it will be, good for a lot of people that go over here to get a different venue. I have my own a little bit biased thoughts on it. I grew up going to Dallas a lot because I had an aunt and uncle that lived down there. So it's like my favorite big city by far. Nashville is also going to be colder than Frisco is. I don't know if people realize that. But and don't get me wrong, in January in Dallas, you can have 30 and snow. The 2 years we've made it in the winter, and obviously
God,
the
we've
one in
been
the
lucky.
spring, but we've been incredibly lucky with the weather. Even last year, people are like, oh, it's a little bit colder than it was the year before. It's like, dude, this is still nice for Dallas in January. And at that point, like I said, with some of the attendance stuff, I don't know. I'm not a big Nashville person. I've never been, but I like the music they don't play on Music Row, so I don't know. That doesn't do it for me. Yeah, I'll still go probably, but I'm not like woohoo Nashville, here I come personally, I guess. But I know there's a lot of people that feel differently, and I think as Jordan Thule points out, it'll have lower ticket prices for sure. I think that will be a big bonus to moving the game to Nashville for those 2 years.
I think it'll be fun for 2 reasons. It's a nice test of a bigger city having it, because I know, yes, Frisco is Dallas, but it's still in Frisco. And
Right.
Frisco does wrap its arms around it. Ben and I had this discussion. We disagree earlier about how much that matters. Because to Ben's side of the argument, and I guess you could give your side of the argument. I don't need to talk for you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you hear about like, oh man, Frisco really rolls out the red carpet. I didn't see that much of it. I mean, there's some welcome signs in a hotel. I mean, yeah, there were FCS fans at some of the bars you went to, but that's because you went to the bars where like your buddies were. I mean, like FCS fans are going to find each other. Is my point. Is it more likely that you could go to a bar in Frisco randomly and see a FCS fan compared to Nashville? Yes. But my point is, I don't know. I think that's a little overplayed. I think that any, hotel and bar combo is going to roll out the red carpet and do the welcome signs and do the signage if they're smart, and they'll get the business. So I think it'll be fine.
See,
I think we'll get
my counterpoint specifically, Damian brought up Vegas, specifically somewhere like Vegas or Houston or Indianapolis, where they host huge events all the time. You will not see those signs. You will not see that.
Not a
will
hub
not
city.
see any of that.
You won't even know what's going on.
You won't know what's going on.
There.
You will not have bars like painting the Jack's logo on the side of the bar, or wearing Jack's shirts or any of that stuff. Now Nashville, I'm curious to see. They host like big music stuff, but beyond the Titans, they don't host Final Fours. They don't host that caliber of stuff. So I'm curious to see how that goes. But you get to like a Houston size, a Vegas size, like a Vegas. Part of what makes Frisco great is when you go down. In my mind, every time we've gone, it has felt like Hobo Day in Dallas.
Yeah,
there's Jacks fans everywhere. It's a big party. It's a ton of fun. It's easy to find Jacks fans pretty much wherever you go, or the other fan bases fans if you want to. Whether it's at hotels or it's at bars or anything like that. And I think, Ben, you are right to an extent where you said, well, fans would find a way to congregate one way or the other, but I think there is a limit on that, where you get into too big of a city, like particularly Vegas. It's just going to be gone in the wash, and you're going to just
Vegas would suck.
It would
I don't
suck.
know
on
why
that
people
end
want
of
Vegas.
things.
Vegas
They
would
want
be
cheap
horrible.
flights, and they want to go to the casino. And if you want to do that on your
Do
own
it.
goddamn
Yeah,
time.
just
Do it. Like, that's not for. I mean, where are you going to have it in Vegas? First off, you're going to have it at UNLV Stadium. I damn sure don't want it at an NFL stadium. That's not a great.
Well, is Sam Boyd in any shape to host it? Because it hasn't hosted a football game in years. They've been playing everything at the Raiders Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm curious to see, and I think Nashville's a good test of that. Does of that experience. I know I will be going no matter what for Nashville. Ariel's already told me we're planning a week because she wants to go to Nashville. So there is that side of it where it is a bigger draw for some people to go there. But my point is, after a year or two, I go to Nashville 2 years in a row. Am I going to be excited to just go to Nashville anymore? No, I'm going to be excited to go to national titles, see everybody have the big party down there and all that. So I'm curious to see. I think it's
be
great.
Like Frisco.
Maybe it will. That's the thing. Will it be like Frisco? Will it?
I don't think it will.
Level.
I don't think it will.
That's what I'm curious about. That's what I'm curious to see. That's why I think it's great that it's a 2-year run there. While the reno's happening, so all the fans who've been clamoring for it to leave Frisco, and that's what I don't understand is the clamoring for it to leave Frisco. Like Frisco sucks.
A lot of people that don't even go.
What's that?
A lot of people that are, why are we doing it in Frisco? Like 70-80% of the people I've seen complain about that, I ask on message board and stuff, it's like, have you ever gone? Like, well, no, my team hasn't made it. I was like, okay, that's fair. That you didn't go because your team didn't make it. I get that. It's a lot of money to go just to go. But then how do you know it sucks?
Right. Yeah. How do you have any informed information on it? That's the part that drives me nuts. Like, oh, we need to go to Orlando or we need to go here. Well, how many times have you gone? Well, I haven't. All right. Well, then shut up. Or like the Montana fans complaining that it was expensive to fly to Dallas. I'm sorry. If it was expensive for you to fly to Dallas, the problem isn't Dallas. It's your ass being in Montana. That's what's expensive.
Yeah. Kevin, I will say a counterpoint. I think Ron threw out San Diego. I love San Diego. I still think you're going to be an also ran there. I think San Diego would be fun. And I'll even throw out a couple other cities I think would be cool that have actually submitted bids. Orlando and Tampa, I think, would both be cool. Once again, you're not going to be the main show. It's going to be kind of similar to that. But I think Orlando and Tampa would both be fun places to go.
I mean, if you're looking for weather, then
you can't beat San Diego.
You want San Diego, you want Orlando, you want Florida, stuff like that. But as far as the ones that I last saw from Sam Herder's article who actually submitted bids, the cities were Kansas City, St. Louis, Houston, Nashville, and Frisco. St. Louis would have the game in the dome that the Rams used to play in.
Where Gateway Nationals are. No one else knows.
Kansas City, from what I've heard, part of why Kansas City is bidding is the guy who owns, I think he owns the Chiefs, but he also owns FC Dallas.
Yes, so he was trying to get it as a Kansas City.
Yeah, and he's trying to get it into Kansas City for bidding when the contract's up to get it in Kansas City where owns everything. And then there's Houston, which I think you just disappear in. Honestly,
Kansas City would be a blast if we could inundate the Power and Light District with FCS people.
Oh,
people complained about weather before in Dallas. You know how cold it's going to be in Kansas City in January?
Yeah. Our Southern friends would not enjoy Kansas City.
No.
We would think it's awesome.
I think it's great. And that's where, I'd be curious to see how St. Louis would do with it because they embraced the Battle Hawks.
Well, and
for
so
shit's sake.
I kind of made that tongue in cheek, seeing if Chad would catch on. But so they actually just finished an event in the dome. So every year they have an indoor dirt race now in December.
No kidding.
And no, they embrace the crap out of it. It's a big 30,000 to win dirt late model race that they put on a 5-mile track they built inside the old Ram Stadium temporarily. And the city embraces the crap out of it, though. I mean, and they get a good crowd. They get 40, 50,000 people in there. And the city completely rolls out the red carpet. So if you're looking for that side of it, I'm not wild about playing it in a dome. But I think St. Louis would roll out that red carpet for you as far as that goes.
With that, I'm glad Brendan's muted again. This is great. So that I can end the
I've
show.
been unstoppable. This is why it's bad when I have a cough, because I have to mute myself so I don't hack into the mic all show and I look like an idiot. No, I was gonna say that's why I'm so excited to see it for 2 years in Nashville. Because then we'll know. All right, because that's always been the thing is, well, it'll disappear.
Yeah.
Well, will it disappear? Well, Nashville's a good test. So if it
That's
disappears
fair.
in Nashville, and you just feel like you're walking around a city and having to work to find, Jack's parties and all that stuff, well, then imagine what it's going to be like in other cities.
Right.
With that, we better end it. We did make an hour somehow, even with only 4 games to pick. But appreciate everybody for showing up, and hopefully we'll see a lot of you on Saturday at a wee hour in the morning.
Yes, the tailgate is technically starting at 8. However, I can tell you from experience, there's nobody there at 6 to stop you from setting up and tailgating. So
There you go. Brandon
you
said
make
it here.
your life choices, I make mine. And you know what? I'm not going to be worried about how many people don't show up. These are my favorite games of the year. They're
It's gonna
so
be fun
fun.
either way.
Be
They're
there.
so
Be
fun.
loud.
You're not worried about somebody getting upset because the whole crowd is nuts. You can really, really just let loose and have a good time. I love these games.
Yep. All right. We'll see you there on Saturday, boys. Go big, go blue.
Go
Go
Jack.
Go Jacks.